College basketball in high definition. ESPN HD, the big picture in sports, presented by Best Buy and Phillips. Bringing you today from the Bluegrass State. And around these parts, the big picture is a lot brighter. And these fans are geeked up because, well, today, Rick Pitino returns to the sidelines after missing Wednesday's game with an undisclosed illness, a medical problem that forced him to leave his team in search of some answers.
Well, I know what I don't have, and that's the most important thing. You know, you have to, the reason you do this now, I should have done this 2 or 3 months ago, but the pain kept getting a little worse, and it was gradual and kept getting to the point where after the games were over, I was in a lot of pain. And I said, you know, this is not smart of me, and if it keeps getting worse, I'm going to have trouble coaching, and I didn't want to take away from the team. I didn't know how long it was going to be. I was hoping 2 days. If there was a problem, I was going to get that problem taken care of, and I'm very thankful that it's not something of the serious nature.
And there is the indefatigable, indomitable Rick Pitino, an insatiable will for perfection. His team running on a 16-game winning streak right now today, taking on the defending Conference USA champs. I'm Mark Jones, along with Tim McCormick and Steve Lavin. Thanks for coming aboard. The speculation has run rampant all week after his announcement that he was going to be taking a medical leave. How do you think it affects the team today?
It affects them in a lot of ways. It was a very difficult week for the entire Cardinal program. First, Pitino goes through 6 different tests. He finally has a clean bill of health. In terms of the players, they were mediocre versus Houston. They can't wait to get out here and play. And Steve, it's unanimous. Everybody's very happy Rick Pitino's back.
Well, it's like a mid-season madness instead of a midnight madness. There's a buzz throughout this state, similar to the return of the Beatles or Elvis Presley or Frank Sinatra. I've never seen anything like it in terms of an anticipated mid-season return of a coach, and it just shows you the charismatic leader, the winner that he is, and what he means to Bluegrass State.
He certainly has a lot of star power as we take a look at our star watch. Travis Diener and Francisco Garcia, their team's respective leading scorers. A couple of guys, more importantly, that are very good at getting their teammates involved. Diener leading the conference in assists. Garcia right behind him at 5.4 per game. And we are set to tip off.
Hey, Mark, I think that Diener and Garcia are the 2 most valuable players in the entire conference.
Louisville has won 16 consecutive games overall. 16 straight games here at Freedom Hall. In fact, the last team to beat them were the Marquette Golden Eagles.
Marquette will mix their defenses. They come out in a man-to-man.
Underneath. Pass intended for O'Bannon, out of bounds from D'Artez. First turnover of the ball game, and it's Marquette ball.
Guys, this looks like a battle of tempo. Louisville wants it fast, probably somewhere in the 80s. Marquette, they need poise and patience, looking for a game in the 60s.
Travis Diener back after having a neck injury. Mason goes glass, no good. Back quickly the other way, it's Garcia. Garcia playing on a sprained ankle. Jump shot no good from outside.
We're going to see pressure defense and three-point shooting out of Louisville, a trademark of Coach Pitino's teams over the years.
Now, here's the poise, though. I look at this game and think that Marquette will push the ball, look for a quick hoop. If they don't get it, you're going to see long possessions.
There's Novak on the wing, guarded by Garcia. Merritt steps out with 10 on the shot clock. Rebound inside. Sanders couldn't get it to go. Rebound Louisville. 4 white jerseys on the glass.
In a big game like this, fellas, with the adrenaline pumping, big conference rival like this, a lot of times you'll see teams come out a little bit uptight and struggle to score until they get in the flow and the rhythm of the game.
Taekwon Dean running the point for Louisville. Dean was not expected to play 24 hours ago. And there were questions surrounding his backcourt mate, Garcia, as well. He's suffering from an ankle injury.
No nerves there.
None at all. 3-0. Cardinals with the lead. Diener right back at you. Whitehead with the rebound. Here's Dean in the front court. A little bit strong, way strong. Merritt with the rebound.
Man, that thing almost hit the top of the backboard.
Diener kicks it out to a wide open Merritt. If he gets off early, often he has a great game offensively. If he struggles early, well, he could be done offensively for the night. Garcia, meanwhile, driving to the cup. And he'll go to the line for 2. One of the questions is, can they handle the tempo, Marquette, of Louisville's? There's a look at their starting lineup. take note of Damian Mason, the 6'5" guard, a guy that they liken to Dwayne Wade. The starting lineup's brought to you, by the way, by American Airlines. Damian Mason has started the last 3 games at the off-guard spot, and he has averaged 18 points per in his conference starts.
A special Christmas present for Tom Crean over the break. They targeted Mason and said, look, this is your time to shine. We're going to put you in the starting lineup. And he has been one of America's most consistent freshmen since being inserted into the starting lineup.
Look for Louisville to get in their press right here off the free throw.
Garcia knocks down the second and 2. Garcia, pretty good free throw shooter at 80%. Louisville with a 4-0 lead, and here's that pressure.
The Cardinals have 3 different types of press. This is their most aggressive.
And they get a turnover out of the 2, and they give it right back. Merritt with the slam and the easy deuce.
Yeah, and the value of the score is it lets Marquette get back, set up their defense. I don't think the Cardinals are near as effective with their half-court offense.
Offensive execution, a premium for Marquette today.
Garcia drives it into the paint. Tried to hand it off to D'Artez, who couldn't find the handle. And here's Diener back the other way for Marquette. Novak had a wide open look temporarily. Novak, a guy that's been struggling a little bit in the half court. He's their 3-point sniper.
You have to acknowledge the fact that the Golden Eagles, the best shooting team in Conference USA.
Mason drives a little strong, and Merritt, active on the glass, has 4 points. And Rick Pitino looks at his bench for some rebounding help.
Steve, it really doesn't look like Louisville is very good, creating all kinds of lanes to the basket for Marquette.
A couple air balls there, too. Tough to anticipate in terms of where the ball's coming off when there's an air ball.
Garcia underneath to Kendall D'Artez for the slam. Guys, Marquette hasn't played in a week. They've had an entire Saturday to Saturday off. How do you think that affects them today? Does that help them at all in preparation?
You know, I think it does. Tom Crean said he added 5 or 6 different wrinkles to his offense, so look for some diversity in their attack.
We see some mass substitutions here by Coach Pitino. Probably not happy with the level of effort or execution from his Cardinal, but he likes to use the bench and wear people down. Multiple minutes for people coming off the bench. Unlike a Kentucky or a Kansas or some teams that don't have depth, Louisville does, and they'll wear down Marquette over the course of the game.
Well, only 1 starter remains. Actually, 2 starters remain in the ball game right now for Louisville. As you saw, the starting lineups brought to you by American Airlines. The jump shot good that time from outside.
Louisville looking for flurries of points. They go on the patented runs off of quick turnovers and quick shots by their opponents.
Steve, I'm curious. Dean and Garcia have not practiced in 4 days. From a coaching standpoint, do you change your system to accommodate those guys?
Well, you definitely monitor it closely.
Ball out of bounds, and it'll be Marquette ball. That last basket by the Cardinals, they credit it to Diakite.
Jones, you asked earlier about the layoff. That can work both ways. It does help in terms of preparation and being able to rest some kids that have some nagging injuries, but also sometimes you're not as sharp because of the time away from real game situation. You can't practice or simulate the game situations unless you're in the game.
Diener from 3-point territory, halfway down and out. Good hustle on the rebound by Marcus Jackson, and for his hustle, he's rewarded with a foul call against Louisville. It's against Diakite. Timeout on the floor, and good news for the Cardinals. The Cisco kid is back. Francisco Garcia dishing out a little bit of sugar. And when he's not doing that, he's taking care of business himself. Good perimeter jump shooter as Louisville has a 4-point lead when we come back on the other side.
Reese Davis with you in the studio. Another Conference USA showdown. Charlotte and Cincinnati. 49ers up 3. This the desperation for the tie for the Bearcats and the Fighting Bobby Lutzes. They win in Cincinnati for the first time by 3.
Really not much of a surprise the way that Charlotte has been playing this year. You could easily understand how they could beat Cincinnati. Ramon Brown, a wonderful jump shooter, and they have one of the best backcourts shooting-wise in the country, I think.
Knocked off Syracuse earlier this year in the Carrier Dome. Really, Conference USA could build a case for potentially 5 teams making the NCAA tournament, at least 4, but possibly 5 with Louisville, Cincinnati, Memphis, Charlotte, Marquette.
Pro-style offense here by Marquette. Tom Crean has well over 100 plays in their offensive arsenal. Jump ball's going to stay this way. Marquette continues with the ball.
Little whirling dervish in the lane.
Crean, the defending Conference USA Coach of the Year. Great matchup on the sidelines between he and Pitino this afternoon. Here's Novak out front. Good ball fake and foul on Garcia. Steve Novak, last year's Sixth Man of the Year in Conference USA, getting the starting role this year, and I get the feeling he's struggling a little bit with that role. Either that or he's no longer a secret to a lot of defenders out there.
Well, last year, shooting 50% beyond the arc, a lot of that was created by Dwayne Wade. Robert Jackson also in the post would command respect and then kick it back outside. I would think that Steve Novak, if I need somebody to make a shot, is the best in the entire conference.
Nice shot fake there. Looked a little bit like J.J. Redick at Duke in terms of getting his defender in the air and able to draw the foul.
Dean into the front court. Louisville leading by a deuce. Louisville 6-0 in Conference USA play on a 16-0 winning streak overall. Muhammad into the paint. And fouled by Marcus Jackson. Haji Muhammad, the 6'3" senior, finally awarded a scholarship. Said one of his favorite days this past year was when, back in June, Coach Pitino called him into his office, said, "Congratulations." Said, "For what, Coach?" Said, "Oh, you got a ride now. You're on a full ride."
Well, his second favorite day is after they beat Kentucky. He called his brother Nazi of the Atlanta Hawks. Nazi would not take the call for a week, said his brother was a sore loser.
A sore winner.
Sore winner, sore loser. Hey, Nazi's the happiest guy around because he's got a significant role on a team that's climbing the charts very quickly.
Nazi's no longer picking up the tab on little brother's education. Here's Garcia for three. Out of bounds, Marquette ball, and a chance to tie now.
A little bit of an odd rhythm and flow to this game. That happens when you have two teams that play great defense and also a big-time conference matchup. So competitive, the adrenaline is rushing. Sometimes the heart is in your throat. You just need to settle down, take a deep breath, put some extra touches on the ball, and find that offensive rhythm.
You know, I would have to say that the biggest storyline here is, does Marquette look composed versus Louisville's junkyard dog defense? So far, the answer, I think, is definitely not.
Sanders committing the offensive foul. They'll come back the other way. Well, top-ranked Duke needs to beware of the Jackets. They've already knocked off a #1 this season in Connecticut. Duke taking on Georgia Tech, ranked number 16 in the country, and then turn back the clock game. Indiana against Michigan State at 8 o'clock Eastern time. That's right, Disco Dick Vitale and Dan Schulman going to be dressed up for the occasion as well. Guys are going to turn the clock back to 1979 and wear the uniforms from that era, time when Reunited by Peaches and Herb was one of the top songs.
Hey, is it true that Mike Davis may break out the big afro wig and the red plaid pants and a red sport coat?
Hey, I used to have one of those afro blowout kits. I know what he's going to be wearing.
How about the wide lapels? And I want to see the sideburns, the choppers, the Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash choppers, you know, in the 70s.
What they really need is Isaiah Thomas.
That's 8 o'clock tonight. Michigan State against Indiana. Merritt in the post. Wheels back to the baseline side and double team. Both the fourth turnover.
Both teams forcing, trying to do it individually as opposed to within the framework of the team and the offense.
Dean double teamed on the high pick and roll. D'Artez for three. Comes up short. Marquette with the rebound. Both teams stuck offensively in neutral. Novak with an open look. And Marquette has a 1-point lead. Novak shooting near 45% from three-point territory.
Tom Crean's got to be happy with this score. He wants to play the game in the 50s and 60s. Coach Pitino would like to see it in the 80s and 90s. So 9-8 with 13:44 to go is right on Marquette Warriors' pace.
You know, in terms of motivation, Rick Pitino had an easy job getting his guys ready. He said they came into our building last year and beat us. That's all they need. And actually, Taekwon Dean, who has the very bad ankle, was told that, you know, he might not be able to play. And he said, no, I am going to play this game because they beat us on our court last year. And when he went through his summer workouts, he said, I will not forget what they did to us. And he's going to be pointing to trying to get a little redemption in this game.
The leadership that Dean and Garcia have provided for sophomores has really been phenomenal, and ironic that both those players approached Pitino about coming to Louisville. Dean actually signed with the Cardinals without even taking a visit to see the campus.
Well, the credibility of Coach Pitino, having coached in the NBA with the Knicks and the Celtics, the national championship at Kentucky, the Final Fours, a Hall of Fame coach. They got the fireworks here before the ball game. They turned the lights out. They've got this program rolling.
Dean on the dribble. Inside pass picked off. D'Artes couldn't find the handle. That's the 5th turnover for Louisville.
It's like one of those much anticipated Super Bowl matchups. It starts out of the gate a little bit disappointing, but by the end of the game, trust me, this will be a big time, competitive, high-flying affair.
Here's Merritt. Dean helping out on the double. Back out to Mason. Aaron Bradley over to Novak for a 3-pointer. Got it. That's his 2nd consecutive shot made from downtown. And it's a 12-8 lead for Marquette. And a nervous crowd making their voices heard now. Garcia off the mark, out of bounds, and it'll come back the other way to Marquette. We talked about the 2 sophomores and their stellar leadership. Look at how devastating they were against Cincinnati, a combination of 40 points between them.
One of the tough things for Francisco and Taekwon to get involved offensively, they need to be able to score so then they can get into their press. If they're not scoring and executing offensively, that's less possessions. They have the opportunity to set up the press.
Merritt with the runner in the lane, and Marquette now leads by 6. Scott Merritt turning the tide after missing his first couple of field goal attempts.
Defensively, look at Marquette. They're taking away the 3-point look, and that's really the foundation of what Louisville wants to do.
Whitehead kicks it out. Muhammad with the short baseline jumper, good. And that breaks a 10-0 run by Marquette over the last 4:05.
Yeah, and that lets them set up their full court pressure. I don't think they want steals necessarily. They just think they can wear down Marquette over the course of 40 minutes.
Here's Merritt, a big guy that can put it on the floor, but he turned it over. And this will be an easy deuce for Muhammad. Haji Muhammad with 4 consecutive points. Louisville within 2.
When Diener goes off the court, it's almost the same as the Patriots taking Tom Brady off the field tomorrow.
A good point. They really miss his leadership. As you say that, Diener set to check back into the ball game. Here's Townsend. Inside to Novak, 10 on the shot clock. Novak forced to force one up. Merritt got after it. Knocked away, and Jenkins comes up with a loose ball. Kick it back out, and a chance now for Louisville to tie. Foul on the drive by Aaron Bradley. That's his first personal foul, and timeout on the floor coming up. Make sure you stay tuned for the final bucket, because these 2 teams had a couple of great, compelling games last year. We'll jog your memory about it when we come back. Here's a look at the game from last year, February 15th. Marquette tied it up on that big shot, and then Reese Gaines breaking the collective hearts of almost 19,000 fans there at the Bradley Center as Louisville won at the buzzer. And then, hey, you know what they say about payback. Travis Diener leading the way as Marquette trailed big in that game at one point, coming back to defeat Louisville here at Freedom Hall, 78-75. So both coaches aware of the comeback ability by the opposition. Here's Whitehead on the rebound. Got it back and made the second one count.
Luke Whitehead, underrated player. He's a hard hat, lunch pail player. Brings it every night. A senior, like a coach on the floor. Does a lot of little things. Set screens. He's the front man on their full court pressure. Is a playmaker who can help you beat pressure with the ball handling. From the San Francisco Bay Area. His father played here at Louisville as well.
Yeah, actually, when Ellis Miles injured his knee last year, Rick Pitino said, I need you to go from 3 to 4, and Whitehead has become one of the best.
8 seconds on the shot clock, guys. Travis Diener inside, batted away. It'll be out of bounds. Marquette ball underneath with 2 ticks left on the shot clock. So Tom Crean has a proclivity to run a lot of NBA sets, so has a lot of different plays in his playbook. Let's see what he does here.
Should be a lob or a quick hitting three.
Novak got it off in time. Whitehead with the rebound. Last year's MVP in the Conference USA tournament with his 4th pull.
Underrated but not underappreciated here in Louisville. You hear the fans yelling, Luke!
Muhammad off the mark. Here's Diener. So far, guys, you'd have to say the pace is in favor of Marquette.
Yeah, but one big problem is their turnovers. Maybe a bit quick on the shot there. I can promise you this, Marquette will not win this game in this building if they have 20 turnovers.
Whitehead off glass.
There's an example. He's a point forward, gets the rebound, brings it coast to coast, and knocks it off the glass.
2-point lead for Louisville. Just past the midway mark in the first half. 9:20 to go. And clear out aside for Diener. And he blew by Jenkins and was fouled. Brandon Jenkins, a 6'3" freshman from Detroit.
Marquette's done a good job of getting the ball inbounds quickly before Louisville can get organized and set up defensively in their full court pressure. Surprised Louisville's conversion is not quicker from scoring and getting into that press.
Yeah, and you can really see the Cardinal game plan. If you want to beat Marquette, 2 things you have to do. Number 1, contain Travis Diener. They've been solid there. Also, keep the Golden Eagles off the line. They're number 1 in Conference USA in free throw percentage.
Guys, Chapman and Merritt checked into the ball game from Marquette. Garcia coming back into the ball game meanwhile for Louisville. Dean all over Diener. Mason on the baseline. The freshman's been quiet and frustrated early in the ball game, out of bounds. It'll be Louisville ball.
Mason showing his youth there. Just a poor decision. Double teamed in traffic. No daylight there. Just kick it out.
At some point, I would expect Louisville to try to visit the rim a little bit more. Not much shot blocking for Marquette.
Dean with the ball. Dean, guys, hasn't been able to get off offensively. Makes you wonder how much that groin injury is bothering him.
It's got to be a travel, doesn't it?
Got to be something. A whistle finally. Possession arrow in favor of Louisville. Garcia got the ball and rolled on the ground with it. Actually may have been hit coming off that screen.
You know, watch the defense. It's very physical and confrontational. They get over the top of the screen, play in the passing lane. I thought that should have been a travel.
Dean in the backcourt for Louisville, who leads by 2. They've won 16 straight here at Freedom Hall. Boy, Mason really chasing Garcia all over the court. 4 on the shot clock. Dean from the corner. And Louisville's Whitehead runs down the loose ball. That's his 5th rebound. And we got a traveling violation against Garcia.
Yeah. Louisville in a hurry here offensively. Both teams at times have shown a tendency to just go a little bit too quickly and try and do it individually.
And Louisville with 6 turnovers. It's the first game back for their head coach, Rick Pitino, who on Monday said that he was going to be taking an indefinite medical leave of absence. It turned out to be a 2-day leave. He was back in the office on Thursday morning, ran practice that Thursday afternoon. He had to watch his team play Louisville, play Houston from at home on his couch. It was a very frustrating experience for him.
His son Michael sat with him, was scared to death, saying that his dad's yelling at the screen. He kind of felt like Kevin Willard, the assistant.
Garcia's shot blocked, but the follow good that time by Otis George. Louisville up by 4.
Garcia limping a little bit, noticeably limping.
They're playing on that sore ankle coming into this game. And Dean with a sore groin. Mason on the wing. Great ball fake by Merritt. Lots of contact. Green wants a call. He's not going to get one. Here come the Cardinals in transition. And Garcia boots it out of bounds. Timeout on the floor as Tom Crean tries to find the right button to press. One of them is the stop button on Garcia. They got him at the rim, but a nice follow by my man Otis. More when we come back.
Reese loves to talk about the Southeast Conference.
Yeah,
it's so obvious where he's from.
Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
It's good to see Memphis playing so well.
Reese gives no love to the Pac-10. West Coast bias.
He doesn't have a satellite.
You sound bitter.
East Coast bias. No West Coast love.
We're here at Freedom Hall, Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville taking on Marquette. Louisville trying to stay atop first place in Conference USA, and Steve Novak got a different script today, though. He brings Marquette to within 1.
Yeah, and Rick Pitino did not like the fact that Otis George left the best shooter in the league.
That was a picture-perfect possession for Marquette.
Garcia had it knocked away and got it back. Blocked by Merritt. Blocked again by Merritt, but this time they say it's a foul.
Garcia's hungry, trying to make up for lost time.
Guys, on Monday, battle of the 2 top teams in the Big East. And their big men, 6'8" Hakeem Warwick of Cuse and UConn's Okafor, 19 and 18 points respectively. Classic battles over the years in this rivalry. UConn winning its first Big East tournament by beating the Orange back in the day. And then number 12 Kansas taking on Missouri. Kansas is atop the Big 12, undefeated in league play at 5-0. That's Big Monday, presented by Bud Light.
2 coaches there too, and Jim Boeheim and Jim Calhoun, who had some health issues last year, the past couple years, and actually both healthy now and doing a nice job with their teams respectively.
All that part of rivalry week, presented by Cisco Systems, guys. Great games.
You bring up Boeheim and Calhoun, Steve. Coach K had the back, Majerus, John Chaney had pneumonia, Bobby Huggins with the heart. Why are we finding so many health-related issues, do you think, in the coaching profession?
Well, I think a combination of the year-round toll, 24/7, 365 days a year.
Talk about the various illnesses and variables that have stricken the coaches like Coach Pitino recently. And there's a look at some of the coaches afflicted by illness and their replacements and how the team have subsequently made out.
Undefeated. Right here.
Coach
Rising
Willard.
star in the coaching profession.
When I talked to Rick Pitino, we had a chance to sit down yesterday. He actually acknowledged a phone call that he received on the way to the hospital on his cell phone from Rick Majerus, saying that he wanted to wish him the best of luck. It was the very next day, as you see Kevin Willard, who took over, it was the very next day that Rick Majerus walked away from his program.
That's interesting. This is a team that has faced a lot of adversity this year. And to tell you something about the strong unity on this team, when Willard approached the team earlier this month after his DUI arrest, he wanted to apologize to the group, and as he started to do that, he got choked up and teared up and was unable to finish. And Luke Whitehead walked over to him and embraced the assistant coach and said, "Coach, we're with you 100%. So there's been a lot of different things that has brought this team together this year. Pitino's health concerns, just the latest.
Do you think Kevin Willard was at all thinking about changing the offense or putting a couple wrinkles in?
No. Not at all.
That system's in place.
Mason looking inside, kicks it out to Diener. 1-point lead for Louisville with 6:02 to go here in the first half. Marquette hanging tough here on the road. Novak, who's made a couple of threes already. 10 on the shot clock for Diener. Great defense on the pick and roll, guys, by Louisville. 5 on the shot clock. Tenacious defense. Diener forced to force it up. And Whitehead comes up with a rebound. It's a 3-on-2. Whitehead with 7 rebounds. Jumper short by Daniels. Loose ball and Merritt scraps for it.
We haven't seen that Louisville patented run. It can happen at any time. A 12-2 blitz, a 10-0 blitz. But give Marquette credit. They haven't allowed that to happen.
Boy, this is a bad matchup for Travis Diener. Garcia is way too long for Travis to be able to get his shot off.
Damian Mason fouled by Jenkins. Louisville, one of the top teams in the country in field goal percentage defense. Here's why.
Yeah, check out the D on Diener. It's confrontational, and Travis Diener is the Allen Iverson of the NCAA. He's undersized, the ball is in his hands, and he has the huge responsibility of scoring 20 and getting everybody else involved. Just like Allen Iverson, it's very difficult when he has to try to get his shot off against really tall and long defenders.
Interesting, you talk about Diener and his ability to score, or lack thereof today. He has not scored a point, guys. How important is it that Coach Crean get him off here in the first half at some point?
I just don't think it's possible for Marquette to win this game unless Travis Diener is one of the top 2 or 3 players on the court.
Dino coming off a 15-point, 12-assist performance a week ago against DePaul. That 12 assists, a career high for him.
And remember, that was after the whiplash injury he suffered at Charlotte.
Mason 0 for 2 from the foul line there. For Marquette to win this game, they're going to have to do the little things down the stretch. Make free throws. They're going to have to take care of the basketball. Their margin for error on the road is very small.
Garcia kicks it out to the wing. And O'Bannon missed the jump shot. Mason takes it to the hole. And he's fouled on the ground.
Garcia really laboring in transition, favoring that foot. And Marquette took advantage of it. 5-on-4 when you have a wounded player on the floor. You want to attack the rim, especially in transition before the defense gets organized and gets set.
Garcia has 6 points so far in the ball game. His sophomore running mate and roommate, Dean, has not scored. Novak from outside got the 3 ball. That's his 3rd of the ball game. And look out, Marquette has a 2-point lead with 4:33 to go in the first half.
Nice quick hitter on the out of bounds. We saw Marquette this morning at shoot-around reviewing all their half-court sets as well as their side out of bounds and their underneath out of bounds plays. Paid off there.
Garcia off the weak side pin down. Diener in transition, working on Dean. Just inside the 3-point line, knocks it down, and Marquette leads by 4. That's Diener's first field goal.
And that was a bad shot for most players.
At both ends of the floor, Garcia's really hurting Louisville here. He's forcing offensively, defensively, because of the injury. He's not able to get down the floor.
Cortez had it knocked out of bounds. It'll be Louisville ball. Timeout on the floor. The Marquette team up by 4. And number 20 has a lot to say in the eventual outcome. He is starting to heat up. Novak, last year's 6th man of the year, with 14 points. More after this.
Well, I'm glad at least we got a Pac-10 team somewhere up there on the screen.
Steve, that'll get a lot of West Coast viewers, huh? Oh, boy. Back here, Louisville behind right now. 24-20.
Is Reese insinuating that I'm still coaching out there? Am I still taking the hits for
Kind of
throwing
sounded
losses?
that way. It sounded that way.
It was your fault last year. It's your fault this year, too, right?
I can't catch a break. Rodney Dangerfield.
Ball out of bounds and a foul called against Marquette, guys.
Guys, the story of this game so far is that Dean and Garcia are 1 for 8 from the field. And yesterday, prior to practice, Rick Pitino said that if you miss 2 days of practice, you're okay. If you miss 4 like those 2 guys, you will struggle, and we're seeing that.
Yeah, surprised Garcia's in the game with the number of forced shots and obviously limping noticeably in transition, and that affects their defense. Louisville keys their offense off of their defense.
Both of those players sat out the last game against Houston as Garcia goes to the bench. O'Bannon coming in for him. And not only do they lose about 15 points per game when he goes to the bench, but his important ability to be able to distribute the ball.
Yep. The concern right now, if you're Rick Pitino, Garcia has a groin pull. If you sit down for too long, that thing's going to tighten up on him.
Garcia, Dean doesn't seem to be moving all that well either.
Tom Crean couldn't have scripted a better score for this stage of the game. 24-22.
Marquette, meanwhile, well rested, haven't played in a week. And Travis Diener got his 2nd field goal to fall right there. A friendly roll.
Shooter's touch.
4-point lead for Marquette. Coming in at 3-3 in conference play, 12-5 overall. D'Artez for 3. Wide right. It'll be Marquette ball.
Yeah, Tom Crean will live with that shot the entire game. Sitting on the bench, catching a blow is Francisco Garcia. And Tom Crean has a neat motivational thing. He has a big black lunch pail that he brings on the road with his team to signify the tough work ethic they need. It's really a let's go to work type of attitude.
Novak finally missing one. Dean with the rebound. Dean has not scored in the ball game yet.
A little bit of a lunch bucket effort so far, Steve.
Absolutely. Both ends of the floor. Give Coach Crean and his staff and the players come in here and execute this game plan against a deep, talented Louisville team.
A lot of great things happening at Marquette, guys. A brand new Al McGuire Center, a $31 million facility housing the basketball team. That thing's like the Ritz-Carlton. Had a chance to tour that a couple of weeks ago up in Milwaukee. Crean with already a pretty good recruiting class coming in next year. Dean finally gets his first point of the ball game coming from the free throw line.
Jonesy's big time. He stays in the Ritz-Carltons, and we're over there at the Radisson and the
Exactly.
Residence Inn.
I said it was
Deal.
like the Ritz-Carlton.
Hey, I didn't get the little chocolate under my pillow last night.
Picked up in a limo like Dick Vitale. I was glad I was just able to get a ride.
Now, guys, what we're going to keep an eye on here, Travis Diener, the human press breaker, is sitting. How does the pressure affect a ball team that doesn't handle very well?
There's Jackson off the inbound. You don't want Jackson handling the ball too much. In a bad place if you're going to pick the ball up. You don't want to pick it up right around the midcourt stripe there.
Those are extra defenders right there. The midcourt line with the 10-second count going, and the sidelines are extra defenders.
Ball handling always an issue when Diener's on the bench for Marquette.
They've got to get it over half court very quick to avoid the penalty.
Bradley back in the ball game. Guarded by Jenkins out top.
I think actually they get a fresh 10 on when it's out of bounds.
You're right, good call. And Steve, do they try to milk the clock a little with Diener sitting?
Well, I think they'll take opportunity easy baskets, but otherwise they need to put touches on the ball and not force anything.
10 on the shot clock for Bradley. Merritt steps out. Tough shot for Merritt.
Should have taken the first shot. It was more open than the second.
Muhammad. Jenkins was off the mark. Here's Novak quickly in transition. He's fouled by Larry O'Bannon.
Quick shots lead to poor defensive transition spacing.
Well, we got the Wendy's Championships skins coming up. That's concluding Sunday at 12:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time. Some great names in this one. Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Supermex, Lee Trevino, and Tom Watson.
I'm going to take Watson. I'll give you the field as we see Novak at the line. Guys, his dad was the high school coach for him, Brown Deer High School. And when you grow up a coach's son, you learn how to shoot the ball. He told me that his mom used to pick him up from kindergarten, drive him to the gym, and then he would work on the shooting while his dad's team practiced.
On the flip side, Louisville ice cold in the freezer all night long. If they were golfers, the skins game, they'd be hooking them into the brush.
30-second timeout called by Marquette, and Novak with a big contribution offensively, guys. So far, 16 points, and as far as Coach Crane's concerned, the best thing about his game this year is that he's improved defensively. Guys not really going at him at the defensive end of the floor as much as they used to a season ago. 4 for 6 from downtown, 4 from 7, 4 for 7 overall from the field.
Well, people talk about J.J. Redick, but you've got to give Novak some consideration when you look at the top shooters in the country. He's right there.
And plus, he, at 6'10", has a much higher release point. He's a matchup nightmare, and as his game evolves, he'll be able to take smaller defenders that cover him at the three-point line and pound him on the interior.
What's nice is he hasn't forced. He stayed within the Marquette offense. He's done a nice job of shot faking to get defenders in the air and one bounce to the mid-range, or just make the easy play. Don't force. Don't try and hit a home run. That's what Louisville's done on most of their possessions.
And when you're 1 for 14 from the three-point line, I would think that Louisville would be wise to get the ball inside a little bit more.
Haji Muhammad instead turns it over. That's the 9th turnover for Louisville, but he took it back. But Scott Merritt rejected it at the rim. Good effort, though, by Muhammad.
A little careless with the ball. Once again, Diener is sitting. Their press break is inefficient. No surprise.
Well, Marquette coaches talked about the importance of ball handling, being strong with the ball, ripping it through with your elbows out like razor blades to get defenders off of you. You need to be strong with the ball. Similar to hitting the hole in football, you've got to wrap it up with 2 hands. Ball security is so important in basketball and football.
Yeah. I remember the Cincinnati game versus Marquette. Same kind of attacking style defense as Louisville. The Golden Eagles had 23 turnovers. They lost the game.
Merritt with a nice rebound. Mason up court for Marquette. The Golden Eagles leading by 4, and a bit of a surprise. Make that a 6-point lead. Merritt on the nice press break. That time, guys, they handled the pressure well.
Mason, a lot of confidence for a freshman, aggressively taking the ball to the middle of the floor, finding his teammate for an easy bucket.
This, guys, when you're not scoring buckets, it's tough to get your press on.
Absolutely, either have to make free throws or buckets to set your press up.
Otis George left alone, and they'll give him that shot. He misses. A chance now to increase their lead to 8 points. Bradley up court for Marquette.
Surprised Louisville continues to jack threes and one brick after another.
Novak stepped out of bounds. Louisville ball. That's Marquette's 9th turnover.
You know, Steve, you talk about the problems of Louisville so far. No buckets in the last 7 minutes, but they are somewhat one-dimensional. 30% of their points this year come on three-pointers. They have no post game to speak of.
Well, particularly in the half court, when they get steals and they push the ball in transition, they attack the rim well to get some easy baskets, but there aren't any tonight.
That shot off the mark from O'Bannon. Whitehead got it back, boarded it, tipped up again, loose underneath. Whitehead fouled. He has been relentless at both ends of the floor on the glass. Luke Whitehead.
Well, he's on the all hard hat team playing volleyball here. That's one way to manufacture some points when you're struggling from the perimeter. Get on the glass. And this is just effort. 3 Louisville Cardinals battling, fighting it out. Inside position there. You see Marquette on the outside. Did not have a shell defensively.
Yeah, and this is no drought. This is a full-fledged famine. I saw Luke Whitehead play 4 games in high school, and he's developed into a stud rebounder, but I remember him at the high school level as more of a finesse player. I'm really impressed with how he's developed as a player.
Guys, his dad, Eddie, sends him clips often of his rebounding numbers when he used to play back in the day here at Louisville against Wes and with Wes Unseld. He's got 10 points in the ballgame.
Well, you know he's tough. His favorite movie is Gangs of New York, and his favorite singer is Tupac. So you know he's a tough guy.
No finesse. And also, you look back at Wes Unseld, 6'6". The guy averaged 20 rebounds a game.
They still talk about him here at Freedom Hall.
Length of the court outlet passes, too.
Maybe the best player in Louisville history.
17 to go in the first half.
We'll get back on that one. Watch the clock. We'll revisit that subject.
O'Bannon with the rebound and fouled by Damian Mason. Mason is incredulous. He can't believe it.
Real quick, who's your all-time Louisville player?
Daryl Griffith's got to be right there. But I'd say in the paint, you've got a strong case for Wes Unseld being the most dominant player around the basket. But so many great Cardinals that came through over the years. Denny Crum's teams, national championships, Final Fours.
My favorite name was Flash Gordon, by the way, while you guys are on the topic of flashing back a little bit. O'Bannon going to step to the foul line. O'Bannon is 0 for 4 from the field. His first trip to the free throw line. In that type of afternoon so far for the Cardinals, Muhammad coming back into the ballgame for Jenkins.
In fairness to Louisville, you know, when you lose your head coach, even if it's only for one game or a couple days of practice, that does affect the central nervous system of the team. There's the point guard on the floor that kind of controls things. Is really the central nervous system of the team, like a quarterback in football. And on the sidelines, when you lose your coach, like losing your dad for a couple days, things are different in the home. It feels different. And I think that may be a factor, as well as the injuries. And then give Marquette a lot of credit. Let's not make excuses for Louisville either.
The three-point lead, 5 seconds to go as they try to break the press. Mason. Merritt. It would have counted, but it's no good. Rick Pitino in his first game back after taking that medical leave. This is what they are at Freedom Hall this season, undefeated. And they've won 16 straight here at Freedom Hall. The last team to beat them, Marquette. It's halftime, 30-27. The visitors with a 3-point lead. Right now, we're going to head back to the studio for the Bank One halftime report. Here's Reese Davis. Reese? Back here for the start of the second half. Louisville trailing by 3. I'm Mark Jones along with Tim McCormick and Steve Lavin. And guys, there's a lot of hype about Rick Pitino's return from his medical leave of absence. And so far, that whole emotional boost that Louisville was expected to have has been nullified by Marquette.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I thought the Golden Eagles came in with a big boy attitude. They showed great composure in what's a killer environment. Steve, I think that there's going to have to be some changes for Louisville in the second half.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if at halftime Coach Pitino wasn't breathing fire and didn't have some choice words to try and warm this team up. He's been shooting ice cube after ice cube at the rim.
Take a look at our ESPN game track. And pretty interesting first half. But Novak, the big story, with 16 points overall, 4 for 6 from downtown. Got some nice looks at the hoop. And just basically your typical Wisconsin kid that goes out, shovels the driveway, and practices his shooting. Dean was cold in the first half from three-point range, as were his teammates. They were 1 for 16 guys from downtown.
Yeah, if Louisville doesn't go 10 for 14 from the free throw line, this game could be out of hand. Marquette running away with it, but they were able to manufacture some points from the foul line.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised in the second half to see Marquette go with some zone defense. They played all man in the first half.
Mason on the baseline. Great ball fake by Novak to get open. Tipped up, loose ball, and Garcia comes up with it. Whitehead in a rush, and Luke Whitehead continues to make an imprint on this game. 8 points and 11 rebounds.
That was their first basket in the last 8 minutes.
And also it was in transition. That's the hallmark of Louisville basketball, transition basketball.
Diener got open for three and shot it right in Dean's grill.
That's the way you answer it. Come right back at him.
Guys are running Diener off a lot of ball screens, and that's rough on a guy with a bad groin. There's Louisville in the front court, D'Artez. Garcia on the wing. Wide open Larry O'Bannon. Whitehead with yet another rebound, his 12th. Good save by Whitehead. And Dean got all the way to the hoop. Not the way that Pitino drew it up, but they'll take the bucket. Diener back in a hurry. And he saw a nice opportunity, and he ends up at the free throw line.
Good job, Marquette, of taking the opportunities when they're there. And speaking of opportunities, one of the few in transition that Louisville's had all night, as we see Luke Whitehead with a little floater in the lane.
Yeah, and this is unconventional offense for the Cardinals. They love the three, but when your team's struggling, you have to try to find a way to generate some points.
Well, it's penetration and inside touches that open up the outside as well. So if they can get some baskets driving after they reverse the ball and put some touches on it, or go inside a little bit, that will open up the outside because the defense will collapse like an accordion.
As I watch Travis Diener, I've always thought he reminds me a lot of Rick Pitino's former player, Billy Donovan, the coach at the University of Florida.
A little bit of Scott Skiles mixed in there too, maybe, Tim?
Couple of basketball savants.
Here's Dean. Diener got picked off by D'Artez and got back on defense.
Why isn't the clock moving?
And stuck at 18:32 and a foul underneath. It's going to be against Taekwon Dean. As Scott Merritt went up for the rebound.
I'm
not sure that the officials know. No.
You know, it's very significant, too, because I expect this game to go down to the wire. Lost time on the clock will be something to watch.
Well, if you're Coach Green, you want those seconds to tick away. If you're Coach Pitino, you don't mind putting a little more time up on the clock.
The official's going to try and sort this thing out now. I don't think either coach is aware of the fact that the clock malfunctioned either. Tom Crean's team coming in here 3-3 in Conference USA play. They snapped a 3-game losing streak a week ago today with a win against DePaul. This is a team that lost their best two players, arguably, last year in Jackson and Wade. Still making the adjustment. Mason helping that adjustment. Sanders helping as well with the layup.
A beautiful mid-air creation. And the thing that you lose, other than the 38 points from Jackson and Wade, they were the best defenders and they were great leaders.
Good job there again. Marquette breaking the full court press, getting the ball to the center, making an easy play.
Way off the mark, guys, with the three ball. Louisville now 1 of 18 from downtown. But that's the way they play. That's a big part of their offensive attack, the three-pointer.
Tonight, the difference, though, Jonesy, is they're not in rhythm.
Diener's in rhythm, though. Holds up three, lets the Cardinal faithful watching, all 19,000 plus, know that he got him for three. And Marquette has a 9-point lead with 17:41 to go here in the second half. The defending champs showing a lot of heart, showing a lot of toughness, showing a lot of temerity. And Travis Diener, oh, he's got it just like that. Back with more after this. Trouble brewing for Louisville here at Freedom Hall. They are down by 9 with 17:41 to go. Their 16-game winning streak on the line. One of their star players, Taekwon Dean, hurt right now. with that bad groin injury, and he has not been himself today. Guys, how much of a factor do you think the off-court stuff has been in this game today?
It's double trouble. It's the fact that Pitino's been gone. That's been a distraction. Their two best players are hurt. Anything else, Steve?
Well, I think the routine, that'll help right there.
Otis George.
I think being out of routine, and when you lose the head coach, we look at the replay here. Good job of cleaning up the garbage, drawing the foul, finishing strong in traffic. And now if they can make a free throw here and convert on this three-point play, they can get into their press. And now you have an opportunity to maybe go on a little bit of a flurry, a scoring flurry, those runs that Louisville's depended on all year.
30 times this year, Louisville has gone on an 8-0 run, but by missing the free throw, they can't set up their press.
Diener got a nice ball screen from Sanders. Out of bounds off of Diener. They're going to get back into it. You have a feeling he's going to start with defense, too.
Well, what can happen in a hurry with the way they attack the three-point line and with their full-court pressure? All it takes is 2 or 3 minutes. We've seen it for years with Rick Pitino's teams.
Notice the spacing in the Cardinals' offense. They space as well as anyone. In my mind, anybody that coaches in the NBA like Rick Pitino, that's the biggest difference between college and NBA, is the way they spread the court out.
Yeah, Coach Pitino said that's one of the things that he brought back from the NBA, as well as learning good defensive schemes and how to shut down certain players with certain types of games. Garcia, meanwhile, fouled going to the cup. That's the third foul on Sanders.
In no way is this the Francisco Garcia we saw when he was healthy. Rick Pitino has had 10 first-round draft picks in his coaching career. Garcia is definitely number 11.
Well, guys, we talked about the off-court issues with Coach Pitino's health this week, which began on Monday. Francisco Garcia, a young man that is still playing with a heavy heart. His younger 19-year-old brother, Hector Lopez, was shot and killed earlier last month back home in the South Bronx. And he's still playing with a heavy heart as a result of that. But that's one of the things that has brought this team together as well, helping him out.
Louisville extending their pressure here. Marquette's got to look to get to the interior, either through driving or passing against this pressure, or back cut the pressure.
Mason out of control, got it back. Townsend missed it. Tipped up, and Otis George says, my ball. O'Bannon. Oh, my.
Here they come.
Just like that, the lead is down to 2. Diener for 3.
How can that not be a foul?
Diener ended up on his wallet.
That should be 3 free throws.
Home cooking.
Brandon Jenkins trying to lock down Travis Diener. Mason with the pull-up. Garcia with a chance to tie. Jenkins. And Louisville has a lead.
And this is their 31st 8-point or better spurt of the season.
As we said, it doesn't take long.
Marquette calls a timeout as Louisville responds with a huge run of its own.
As we enjoy the work of Rick Pitino, the thing that impresses me the most, there's no tricks, there's no motivational stuff. They just play like they are angry. They have better athletes than you. They're in better shape than you. They're going to attack you for 40 minutes, and you better bring it or you're going to get blown out. And at breakfast this morning, Steve, you were saying that Rick Pitino, you think he's as good as any coach in America.
Yeah, he has the full package, as you say, in coaching, as we see another three-pointer from long range. That's the confidence he gives this team. Even though they're 1 for 19, struggling as a team, you go to the timeout, you come out of a timeout. With Rick Pitino as your coach, you still have the confidence, you still have the green light, and you know you're going to be in every game with his coaching.
Let's see what Marquette runs out of this timeout. Townsend in the backcourt. Diener was working the officials about that last non-call. thought he should have gotten 3 foul shots. Novak for 3. Out of bounds, Louisville ball. And a timeout. Louisville winners of 16 straight games overall and 16 straight here at Freedom Hall, looking for a little payback against Marquette. Back after this.
Yeah, Reese, kind of interesting referencing Phil Martelli. Tom Crean had Phil Martelli call Travis Diener on the phone this year to talk to his young point guard about the impact that Jameer Nelson has on the defensive end of the court. I think it's neat the way that Tom Crean has a relationship with so many coaches around the country.
That really networks not only in the collegiate ranks, but in the NBA as well. Here's Garcia out front. Louisville surging ahead by 1. Jenkins from the corner off the mark. Garcia with the rebound. He was fouled before the shot. Foul is going to go against Mason.
You know, it's interesting. The Louisville run did not involve or include their full court pressure defense. Coach Pitino chose after those baskets to get his team to retreat, just get back and play solid half-court D. No press.
3 team fouls against Marquette. Diener foul that time.
You know, when you look at Travis Diener, you don't recognize how tough he is. He looks like Opie Taylor from the Andy Griffith Show, you know, shooting jumpers back in Mayberry. But I think he's one of the toughest players in all college basketball.
What a compliment to Diener that Louisville's decided to pull off the press. Sometimes there's a phrase, discretion is the better part of valor. Sometimes you learn to live to fight another day and just drop back into your half-court man-to-man. Then maybe spring the press on later.
Novak with the turnaround, and Steve Novak still percolating, folks. That's 18 points in the ball game for him.
The best player on the court today is Steve Novak.
Marquette leads by 1.
Novak's tired of hearing about J.J. Redick from Dick Vitale.
I would take either one on my team.
Here's Diener. Novak, boy, you can't sleep on him. Almost got a friendly roll.
A little sideways spin on that, a little bit of the knuckleball. Didn't get the usual release off the 3 middle fingers.
Garcia kicks it out to a wide open O'Bannon. Mason, the freshman, battling for the loose ball. Damian Mason has been quiet offensively. Just 2 points in the ball game. 3-pointer good on cue by the freshman Mason.
That had the nice feathery touch, the great backspin off the middle 3 fingers.
He's been averaging 18 points a game in his 3 conference starts. Lob over the top. Whitehead missed the easy one.
Little zone defense there by Marquette. Coach Crean mixing his defenses, giving different looks.
Novak, the trailer, knocks down another 3.
There's the counter punch.
He's got 21 points. Marquette leads by 7 in a timeout on the floor. Well, folks, as we celebrate our 25 seasons of college basketball, it's time to flash back into the ESPN archives.
So we're standing by at Freedom Hall in Louisville for Louisville and Indiana. I'm still trying to find the freshman in Purvis Ellison. I haven't found it yet, have you?
Look at Ellison.
Oh, Purvis Ellison. Think he has a feel for the game?
I'll tell you who's cleaning the glass right now is Purvis Ellison.
Ellison wins the rebound battle.
Watch Ellison high in the air to get the rebound.
In the immortal words of somebody, it doesn't get any better than this.
Never nervous. What a great freshman year he had, and his jersey hanging in the rafters here. And another one of the players you saw in the little piece of video there, Milt Wagner. I thought, you know, might be a stretch by some people's estimations. I thought he might have been one of the names mentioned in that silver anniversary team. There was not a better free throw shooter in the clutch than Milt Wagner, the guy they called Ice here for the Cardinals.
And there you see the streak involving Purvis and Milt. Isn't that DeJuan's daddy?
Yeah, that's right. Pretty good player too, isn't he? Garcia out top.
Great job of Marquette countering that Louisville run with a run of their own.
Jenkins wide open for 3, short. And Louisville a step quicker on the offensive glass. Dean. Novak came up with it. Marquette though contesting that last shot. Mason drives on D'Artez and is blocked. Out of bounds, Marquette ball.
Love the aggressiveness, like a hound dog, looking for an opening there. Mason, a freshman, putting it on the deck.
You know, Reggie Theus is a new assistant for Louisville, and he talks to Francisco Garcia about star players forcing the action on offense. That's a shot right there that Reggie would say, you've got to put that ball up. If you're scoring points, the defense will come to you, and your teammates will be more wide open. Francisco Garcia is too unselfish, if that's possible.
There are times where Pitino sends Taekwon Dean to say, hey, tell your buddy to shoot more.
They put Reggie Theus in charge of the shooting on the Cardinal Ball Club.
Wonder why. Here's Diener into the lane. Missed a couple of times. Dean looking for the push. Louisville in first place in Conference USA at 6-0, but trailing by 7 points here.
Garcia is big, Diener is small. He has to go inside and use his height advantage.
Daniels from outside. Mason tipped it up and out. And Daniels got it back. Diener stripped him from behind, but it's out of bounds to Louisville ball. Daniels, guys, is coming off a great performance against Houston on Thursday night. He was 5 of 10 from the field for a total of 15 points. He had 5 3-pointers in the game, but so far in this contest, he's been unable to give them any offensive production.
Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise, and you can find a way to win a game when some of your key players are out, because it develops and builds the confidence of some of the people on your bench, and now you have a deeper team and a more confident team come late in the season.
There's the back pick. D'Artez fouled at the rim by Sanders. Nice inbound play by the Cardinals.
Good back screen.
D'Artez will go to the free throw line as Garcia huddles the troops.
You know, with Rick Pitino out, I joked with Kevin Willard and said, did you put any of your own plays in? He said, well, actually, I did. There's a lob play that Rick Pitino has wanted to put in for a while, but we haven't had a chance. During his absence, we ran it for Mohammed in the last game versus Houston and got it dunked. That was it right there.
Steve, interesting point that Tim brings up. During the course of a season, coaches never want to show too much too soon. How much do you augment your playbook during the course of the year?
Well, I think, you know, you add, when you get to conference, a couple wrinkles, and as you move down the road in conference play and head for the tournament, you'll put a couple wrinkles in the playbook just to mix things up and keep teams off balance.
Oh, Coach Pitino has enough wrinkles in his playbook to make an old man look young. Here's Novak, though, lighting it up at the other end for Marquette. They have the lead when we come back on the other side.
This game is brought to you on ESPN by HD TV. Now, what that means is high-definition TV. You get a wide screen. These borders here represent what you guys are looking at home. When you take those away, you see how much more width, so much clarity. I had a chance to watch a football game on one of these things. Absolutely incredible. You could see the blades of grass. And Jonesy, if I'm a little bit late getting back, this thing's going to look real nice on my wall at home. So if you guys don't mind, we're going to carry this out to my car. We'll be there in a minute, Mark.
Thanks a lot, Tim. Yeah, I tell you, Steve, to punctuate the point that Tim just made, it'll make a brother go back and get a new razor and shave a couple times knowing that the game's in HD.
Get exposed.
Here's Diener. Taking it to the basket. Mason went high, and Diener wisely kicked it out while sitting on the court.
I'm back now, guys. I found the car, and I'm ready to go. Long drive home, but well worth it.
There's Mason out front. Merritt on the baseline. Merritt's been quiet since scoring about 6 points in the first 7 minutes of the ball game. Attacking the basket that time, though.
Nice penetration, Marquette. Picking their spots wisely, when to penetrate, put the ball on the deck, break the defense down, help get your teammates an easy shot.
Here's a look at some of the events coming up in HD, high definition. Illinois, Indiana, one of them on Monday.
Scott Merritt's an interesting player. There's a fine line between playing in the NBA and being stuck over in Europe. The scouts that are watching him, they know he can handle the ball, but they want to see if he's willing to go in and do the blood and gut stuff inside. Get physical, get the rebounds, work on that jump hook.
How about Marquette today? Almost a full-blown practice at shoot-around this morning by Coach Green. They brought the pads in, they were banging their guards down low and finishing around the basket, running all their set plays.
They'll play 2 games today, guys.
5-on-5, full court.
They really worked. Actually, in the pregame warm-up, Tom Crean was in his sweats, and he was pounding with his big guys down low. He was passing to the guards.
Marquette in the midst of a 10-2 run. Dean fouled underneath.
Steve, I know out at UCLA with your $2,000 suits, you probably weren't out there in the pregame working with the players, were you?
Hey, I rented my suits. I had to turn them in like videos before midnight, or I got charged for 2 days at the senior prom.
Jackson out of the ball game with 4 fouls. Novak comes back in. Whitehead got it back. Tenacious on the glass. Luke Whitehead, and now Louisville coming with the full court press. Tipped out of bounds by D'Artez. Marquette ball. You know, Luke doing what his daddy used to do many decades ago, rebounding.
Actually looking a little bit like Jerome Whitehead, the great former Marquette Warrior.
Trying to pad his stats there with the intentional miss. So gets an offensive rebound, then a putback.
Yeah, a little Moses Malone action in the paint.
Louisville with 18 second chance points to just 4 for Marquette. Muhammad guarding Diener. Now they've used about 4 different guys on Travis Diener today. Merritt down low. Nice little move, but couldn't get it to fall.
Too much English there.
14 rebounds now for Whitehead.
Notice the adjustment by Louisville, not relying exclusively on threes like they did in the first half. You agree with that, Steve? If the threes aren't going, even though that's what you do all season, 30% of their buckets are beyond the arc. Do you go elsewhere?
Good teams and good coaches adjust to time and score, to personnel, to their opponents, to the season.
6 on the shot clock, guys, and a foul going to be called against Travis Diener. Let's take a look at the team foul situation. The Golden Eagles now with 6. Louisville with 4. With 10:24 to go here in the second half. Coach Crean's team trying to get its 2nd consecutive win after a 3-game losing streak. Taekwon Dean back on the bench. He's been playing and hampered by a sore groin. Muhammad, a little bit strong. Merritt with the rebound.
Forced shot, contested shot.
Pick and roll, Merritt. Ended up on the ground and no call. Whitehead. And that's a walk. Going to be called on Brandon Jenkins, the 10th turnover for Rick Pitino's team.
Might have wanted to stop at the foul line there, Coach Wooden style, to give it up. With that extra dribble, poor spacing in transition, led to the contested forced shot and the travel.
Yeah, Steven, part of the problem is that Whitehead handles the ball really well, but he's a power forward, doesn't need to break that often.
Scott Merritt goes strong. Almost got the roll. I'll tell you something about Scott Merritt. He has been working very diligently over the last couple of weeks with assistant coach Bo Ellis. And those two have an interesting relationship as Merritt steps to the line. Merritt's father and Bo Ellis used to play high school basketball against one another. They're both from the Chicago area. Merritt's dad, Kareem Merritt, is from 36th Street in the old Chicago neighborhood, went to Phillips High School, and the two of them talk. Bo Ellis and Merritt's dad, Kareem, talk frequently about how to get Scott untracked a little bit.
What Bo has told him is, Scott, get to the middle of the court. That's the kill zone. If you shoot from right in the middle there, there's a lot of margin for error. The ball can hit the rim, hit the backboard. There's a lot of touch from dead on.
Bo Ellis, a great player in his own right.
Still looking lean and mean today in practice. Looks like he can still suit up.
6-point lead for Marquette.
Bring him back on the GI Bill.
D'Artez down low.
Got some eligibility, doesn't he?
Here's Travis Diener. Drops it off for Novak. They're going to pull it out and run a little bit of offense here with 9:23 to go in the second half. 7-point lead for Marquette, trying to snap Louisville's 16-game winning streak. Well, coming up next on ESPN, #1 Duke taking on #16 Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has already defeated a #1 team this year in UConn. They got a dangerous bunch of players down there in Atlanta. Had a chance to speak with Paul Hewitt last night. They're really looking forward to this game. Then at 8 o'clock on ESPN, it's turn the clock back night as Indiana takes on Michigan State. Novak wheeling and lost the handle.
Actually, Bracy Wright was 6 years old the last time the Hoosiers won at Michigan State.
That's turning the clock back all right.
That's a great matchup, Georgia Tech and Duke, in terms of guards. Both teams loaded on the perimeter. Jared Jack and Elder for Georgia Tech, and obviously J.J. Redick and Duhan and Daniel Ewing for Duke.
Actually, Coach K, the only coach in ACC right now that has won an ACC tournament title. A lot of guys want to end that streak.
And Garcia gets the hoop to cut the lead to 5.
That basket came from point-blank range, inside the paint, higher percentage shot than launching the threes when you're not in rhythm.
Garcia's got 8. They widen out the court, and Joe Chapman and 1. Smoking Joe took it to the cup.
Nice look. Coach Crean and Marquette does a tremendous job. Different formations, different alignments to put his personnel in position to be successful. We see him flatten the defense here, a little 1-4 action. Nice drive and finish.
Joe Chapman, one of the guys that has really bought into Coach Crean's team concept. He was replaced in the starting lineup, guys, just recently in the last 3 games by Mason, but no complaints, just contributing.
Mean crossover there below the knee, and they bring a Novak behind the ball so he has an outlet for a 3-point shot if it's not there.
Yeah, actually, their plays are the beneficiary of a diverse and thick playbook. He talked about how Tom Crean's team has over 100 sets. Each game, they'll target 25 different ones that they think will work, but it all comes down to the same thing. A lot of off the dribble and a lot of pick and roll.
It's an 8-point ball game, 8:18 to go in the second half. Louisville undefeated so far in conference play at 6-0. Trying to stay that way. D'Artez rejected at the rim, but fouled.
Ooh, late whistle there.
It's going to go against Chapman. Actually, they're going to change it now and give it to Townsend.
Makes to see this one right here. Was it good block? I think that looked pretty good to me. D'Artez looks a lot more aggressive this year. Last year, I thought that he was too finesse, lacked confidence at times, but like a lot of young players, that when they do good stuff on the court, it boosts up everything they do.
Guys, I was speaking to a couple of opposing coaches. They say the common denominator to beating Louisville might be attack them in the middle. They're a little bit thin in the middle. Do you buy it or not?
I don't think they have any post game at all, and that will work right now. They play fast to hide that lack, but once you get into the tournament, you need some big guys in there. I agree with that, Mark.
D'Artez makes the second of 2. It's a 6-point game. Mason going to run a little bit of point now. Diener on the bench getting a breather, and they turn it over. Muhammad is fouled by Novak on the drive before the shot. That's going to be the 7th team foul against Marquette. Make that 8 now, and 16 fouls meanwhile against Louisville.
Really worth everybody staying with this broadcast today. A big streak is on the line for Louisville.
And won 16 straight here at Freedom Hall. The last team to beat them here at home was Marquette. Al-Haji Muhammad knocks down the first of 2. He's a 70% free throw shooter on the season.
Kind of an interesting strategy for Rick Pitino. They actually don't shoot any free throws in practice until he's convinced that his kids are wiped out, totally fatigued, because he wants them to shoot and get used to shooting tired free throws.
Game conditions. Coaches are always trying to create habits in practice through game conditions.
A 4-point game, and as you would imagine, the emotion worn on everyone's countenance. It's tangible, palpable. Conference USA, first place on the line for Louisville when we come back. All right, thanks a lot, Reese. We're back here at Freedom Hall in Louisville, Kentucky. Number 4, Louisville, trailing Marquette, the defending champs in Conference USA. Louisville putting its 16-game winning streak on the line overall and here at home. And Francisco Garcia playing with an ankle injury, but toughing it out. And you can tell that his ability to get into the lane has been hampered and slowed today.
Well, it's a game of basketball. Your feet are like the wheels of a car. They get you where you need to go. That's where the strength comes from in a shot, finishing around the basket.
Mason missing. A chance now with numbers, a 3-on-2. D'Artez with the flush. Louisville still trying to speed this game up. Here we are in the mid-50s with about 7.5 to go, under 7.5. Novak.
One of the few easy baskets for Louisville tonight in transition. Just a traditional 3-on-1 break.
They flatten it out in a 1-4 set for Diener. Who else but Whitehead with the rebound?
The yeoman work ethic.
16 rebounds for Luke Whitehead to go along with 10 points. Garcia pops open. Garcia can't really explode and elevate, but he knocks down the shot anyway. He got a sliver of daylight and made Marquette pay. It's a 9-0 Louisville run.
And that's their 32nd run of 8 or more points this season.
Novak for 3. Got it.
Man, how tough is he? Wow.
There have been 7 lead changes in the ball game. Marquette regains the lead by 2.
One thing to think about, Marquette is the best free throw shooting team in the Conference USA. Could be important to watch.
Looks like a combination zone man here.
Garcia missed the layup. Novak out of bounds off of Garcia. It'll be Marquette ball. Sanders checks back into the ball game along with Chapman.
You see easy transition basket here. Good jump stop at the free throw line, the dump off and finish. And Garcia here with just a great kick. Comes behind the ball. Off penetration, knocks down the long jumper.
And what a day it's been for Novak. Some timely buckets for Marquette. He has 24 points. That's going to come back the other way now to Louisville.
Bit of a force there. You want your players to have confidence. They have a green light, but also understand time and score. Situations. That last possession by Louisville looked a little bit like some of European basketball.
Garcia missed the 3. Went for the dagger.
Garcia and Diener both with quick shots, but as the best player, they have earned the right to force the action once in a while.
Boy, they are really swarming on defense, Louisville. Merritt a little out of control, but it counts.
Good job. Against pressure like that, you either got to back cut it or drive it hard to the basket.
Guys, Merritt has a way of teasing you, doesn't he, with his talents? Time out on the floor. When the big guy puts it together, he can be a big force inside.
He used the glass on his last drive, too. The glass, the square, can be your best friend when you're driving in traffic, you're defended. You don't need quite a soft touch. Just put it off the glass like the old Havlicek style.
Tom Crean is really big on video, and in the last week, he presented to Scott Merritt some video from last year of Nick Collison when he played against Marquette. The point he wanted to make is a big guy can use his athleticism to get to the rim. Pretty good example right there.
A lot of pressure on that young man, Scott Merritt, coming into the program. He was Coach Crean's first recruit. A lot of high expectations for him, and he is really beginning to pay off. Pay dividends for Marquette. 14 points tonight.
Jonesy, how you like this combination? In high school, he played on the same team with Devin Harris of the Wisconsin Badgers.
Pretty good combination in the front court and back court with those two guys. Devin Harris, one of the top point guards, I think, in the nation as well. But right here, guys, a 4-point game. Marquette with the lead. 5:06 to go in the second half. Francisco Garcia gets a ball screen from D'Artes. And he got picked by Merritt. A little bit off balance, perhaps because of that sore ankle. Novak. Oh, boy, don't sleep on Novak.
He is feeling it. We call that in the zone, the magic level.
27 points on the afternoon for him. 8 of 14 from the field. 7 of 12 from downtown.
Combination zone man.
Garcia drives it in. Got it back somehow. And is fouled by Merritt.
Very fortunate to get that call. Didn't really have his legs underneath him. Off balance.
You know, I'm in love with Francisco Garcia's game, and we're not seeing the caliber we're used to with him because of his injury. But if you're looking long-term success at the NBA, at the shooting guard position where you need size and versatility, I think that Francisco Garcia is the best prospect in all of college basketball at the 2. He's 6'7". He shoots and moves a lot like Reggie Miller. He also is very much like Tayshaun Prince with his versatility. You know, long arms, skinny body, does a lot of different things.
Talk about his skinny and wiry frame. He came to Louisville weighing 165 pounds. He's up to about 190 right now. He could first only bench about 125 pounds. He's up to about 2 1/4 now, so he's doing his work in the weight room. That would certainly help him at the next level. O'Bannon checks in, and Garcia is going to take a seat.
Louisville back in a full court press off the made free throw.
6-point ball game. Knocked out of bounds, Marquette ball. Garcia and Dean not at 100%, but still out there and playing.
What'd you say his weight is right now?
About 190, generously listed
Yeah,
at 190.
He actually drinks 2 milkshakes before he goes to bed and 2 more every time he wakes up trying to put some weight on.
He's got that spiritual physique, Gandhi-like.
Diener gets it over the midcourt line as we approach 4 minutes to go.
Keith Wilkes had one of those Gandhi-like builds. So did Iceman. A lot of great players have.
Diener working on O'Bannon. They switch on the screen. 10 on the shot clock for Diener. They switch it back. Louisville switching a lot on those pick and rolls. Novak for 3. Oh, boy! It's raining threes for Novak. Get an umbrella. Spread it out. Scott Novak is pouring it down from the skies.
In the feel-good zone.
Those are the shots you've got to hit if you're going to go on the road and get big wins in conference against top-ranked teams like Louisville.
A 9-point ball game, and Scott Novak has got candy for everybody tonight, fellas. 30 points on 8 of 13 from downtown.
Hey, I told you about the Scott Merritt video package about Nick Collison. The video that Tom Crean showed Steve Novak is Dirk Nowitzki, a big, tall jump shooter with outstanding range.
A lot of these shots are contested. That's what's impressive. He shows the inside game, working the baseline, trailing in transition, dialing one up from Marquette.
Yeah, it all goes back. Brown Deer High School in Wisconsin. His dad's the high school coach. Remember, his mom used to pick him up from kindergarten and to take him to the dad's high school practice.
Sonar, radar.
3:41 to go. Louisville with a 16-game winning streak in jeopardy right now as Marquette has responded with an 11-1 run. What does Louisville have to do now, guys, to stop the bleeding here?
Well, they have to execute offensively. They still have enough time, but they've got to be able to execute to be able to get back in their press and force a turnover or two and be able to get in one of their scoring runs.
I have a feeling that it's not going to be Dean or Garcia, so who's next on the list for the Cardinals?
Well, I think that Whitehead is, because it's going to have to be energy and effort related, and he's the leader in that category. And I know one thing, that Rick Pitino has had severe abdominal pain from his illness, which has been undisclosed at this point. Can you imagine how his stomach is churning right now, knowing he's going to have to put Marquette on the line, and they shoot the free throw so well?
This has been a tumultuous week for Louisville, and a turnover. Dino comes up with a loose ball.
Great anticipation there defensively by Diener. Just a heads up, a lot of moxie, a lot of savvy, great feel for the game, reading the passing lane, anticipating that play.
Don't forget, coming up next, #1 Duke taking on Georgia Tech. And hold the tip until 5:05 for us. And a timeout called, a 30-second timeout by Marquette. Well, don't forget, folks, Big Monday coming up, presented by Bud Light, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Cisco Systems. Number 22 Syracuse taking on number 8 UConn, followed by number 12 Kansas against Missouri. And guys, what about Missouri's story this year? Steve and Tim, we both did their game earlier this year. A team that you would have to say has underachieved so far.
Well, I think another example of off-the-court distractions, except they've been there from the preseason all the way through the regular season and conference. We saw this week the effect of losing Coach Pitino. But down there with the distractions, the internal investigation, the external NCAA investigation, the program, and some seniors that probably are a little bit frustrated. They're looking to the next level, and I think they've struggled this year in terms of chemistry. A lot of talent, but as we know, that's not enough. They just haven't been able to blend the parts and really are not playing up to par.
Yeah, but don't kid yourself, guys. As you watch Monday night, that's a team that still has 2 future NBA players and potential to get to the Final Four.
Off the air ball by Novak. It's O'Bannon with a quick push to Whitehead. It's Luke's world if Louisville's going to make a comeback.
There's the quick basket. They're able to get into the press. Here comes the trap.
And Diener wisely over the midcourt strike to Sanders. Here's Novak.
Diener operates his offense just like Tom Brady. Very efficient, not always flashy. It's not a sexy approach, but it's certainly efficient.
Good job protecting the ball there. Had his little arm bar out. Not allow the Cardinals to get in there and swipe and dig at the ball.
Both teams in the bonus right now. That's the 17th foul against Louisville compared to 9 against Marquette.
Hey, have you got your Super Bowl picks in yet, guys? I haven't heard them.
Got to go with the AFC. New England, Tom Brady. Any guy that goes to the White House before the game is down with me.
New England 21-17 in tomorrow's Super Bowl, but you have to admit that Carolina has a little bit of that Florida Marlins magic going on, that same situation. Underrated, underdogs, unheralded.
Yesterday I was talking to Coach Pitino and I was asking him about the Super Bowl. I'm not sure he knew who was in the game. He's so focused on his program. And he asked me, he said, is the game on Saturday? And I said, Coach, they call it Super Bowl Sunday. So
for a reason.
Yeah.
Huh? Well, it has been a super performance for Marquette. And Rick Pitino faced with having their long winning streak snapped here at home. 2:33 to go. Great finish when we come back. All right, Reese, and right back here, a 9-point game with 2:21 to go. Garcia back in the ball game. Dean on the bench. And Garcia got to the hole.
Marquette, a great free throw shooting team to receive a full court press. Forces a timeout.
Garcia just 4 of 13 from the field with 16 points.
Oh, we got a 5-second call.
Wow.
Quick count made for TV.
Once the count gets to 4, you're not allowed to call a timeout, correct?
You know, when you're at home, you get 6 seconds. On the road, you only get 4.5.
O'Bannon on the pull-up.
Looked like he hit his jersey.
Whitehead with yet another rebound. His 17th.
They don't need threes, fellas.
Whitehead. Maybe a little out of his range. O'Bannon. Well in his range.
He'll take that 3. Right back into the press. Put a freshman at the free throw line. Not a bad foul.
You know, Marquette does not look intimidated at all. They actually own Freedom Hall right now. Remember, last year they were down 19 in this building and made a furious comeback and won.
The free throw shooting is going to be key down the stretch. And Marquette shoots the ball well from the stripe. Travis Diener's at 84%, Merritt's at 73, Novak at 87, Mason at 75, Sanders at 82. They really shoot the ball well.
Mason 1 for 2 from the line today. And the freshman out of Chicago knocks it down.
Cool as a cucumber for a freshman stepping up here at Freedom Hall.
He was the number 2 MVP, actually number 2 in MVP balloting in Chicago, state of Illinois, for Mr. Basketball.
Maybe reminds you a little bit of another D. Mason that plays in the state of Wisconsin. How about Desmond Mason of the Milwaukee Bucks?
High flyer. Mason knocks him down.
It's at 17 from 19 from the line. That's picture-perfect basketball. No margin for error when you come on the road in college basketball.
Garcia turned it over. Pitino calling for the foul, but he won't get it. Instead, it's a foul on Louisville.
You know, very uncharacteristic. Francisco Garcia has 8 turnovers in this game. He has been very generous with the ball, to say the least.
Well, again, a double team there and headed for a help defender. 3 people around the ball, just forcing the action.
And it is a combination. Remember, Rick Pitino said yesterday at his press conference that if you miss 2 days of practice, things are okay. You can survive. If you miss 4 like he has with his injury, then you really have the problems start to arise.
Actually really surprised he's been in the game as much as he has. Really hurt his team at both ends of the floor. Valiant in terms of effort, but the execution just has not been there.
Meanwhile, Merritt knocks down the foul shot. It's a 7-point game. Garcia still on the floor. Taekwon Dean, the team's third leading scorer, on the bench with just 4 points in the ball game.
Yeah. Really the story of this game, in my eyes, is that Marquette got off to a terrible start in the turnover department. They've been really good, though, in the second half. They've only had 4 turnovers, 12 for the game.
Well, they came in with a blueprint, a script for what they wanted to do, and to this point, with 1:20 to go, everything has worked out exactly as Tom Crean would want it.
8-point lead. O'Bannon with the 3 ball, no good. Garcia got it back and stuck it back.
Press offense, being strong with the ball.
Can Louisville afford to turn it into a foul shooting contest?
Absolutely. The dilemma for Louisville is that Marquette is one of America's best free throw shooting teams.
And a timeout called by the Golden Eagles with 1:04 to go. And Tom Crean working the officials as well. Timeout on the floor. Louisville's 16-game winning streak and perfect record in conference play on the line when we come back.
The passage is intense, but if you complete the journey, you will find your destiny among the world's greatest warriors. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Reese Davis with you in the studio. So we got just over a minute to play in Louisville. Duke and Georgia Tech just underway in Atlanta. See B.J. Elder there, the fine Georgia Tech player. As soon as we're finished in Louisville, we'll take you right down to Duke and Tech. First, you guys have to finish at Freedom Hall, Mark.
Yeah, got a big finish coming up, Reese, as Marquette set to inbound.
As the fans get ready to watch that game, Duke and Georgia Tech. Remember, Louisville has beaten 2 number 1s this year in Kentucky and Florida. Georgia Tech, they have a chance today to beat their second number 1.
Diener almost stepped over the midcourt line. Instead, it's going to be a foul called against Louisville.
Coach Pitino wanted that over and back call on the inbounds.
Diener a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line this afternoon. 14 points to go along with 7 assists. This guy has been the choreographer of this offense for the last couple of years and has done an outstanding job, and even more responsibility and pressure on him this year in the absence of Jackson and Wade.
Well, he's drawn more attention from defenders. Opponents are going to try and wear him down over the course of the game, give him different looks defensively, put fresh bodies on him and try and wear him down collectively.
Marquette now 20 of 23 from the foul line in the game. 7-point contest.
Now we're at a point where you need a 3-point line.
Garcia out of control. Gonna get a foul called against Marquette.
Boy, they bailed him out.
As the game has progressed, Garcia has winced more and more in pain. And it seems like he's not able to put as much pressure on that sore ankle.
It gets to the point where it's counterproductive for the team to have him on the floor at either end. With a bad wheel, you just can't contribute.
Guys, 5 top 25 teams have already lost this afternoon today. If Louisville would go down, that would be 6. We call this upset Saturday so far.
Shocker Saturday.
Sets the tone for the Super Bowl. Does that mean Carolina?
Whitehead at the line. Louisville still with plans of winning this game. Whitehead knocks down the second one. It's a 5-point run.
Nice job breaking the press, releasing pressure.
And he coughed it up. And Whitehead gave it back.
It's a poor decision.
A 2-on-0, guys. And Terry Sanders gets an easy bucket, picking cherries at the other end.
Game over.
It's been that kind of day for the Cardinals.
Marquette trying to snap that 16-game winning streak. Foul called against Marquette before the shot. Fouls on Terry Sanders.
This is the Keystone Cops routine.
Now, Whitehead has to make a better decision here. He's not a point guard. Pull it up, get yourself a 3-pointer. 2 wasn't going to do a lot of good there anyway. And then they throw it down court. That's 1-on-3. Bad decision.
3 Marquette defenders around the ball, like bees on honey, swarming.
That was the 4th personal foul on Terry Sanders. Actually, that's his 5th. Joe Chapman checks into the ball game for the Golden Eagles as Garcia comes to the foul line. #1 Duke taking on Georgia Tech down in Atlanta. That game just tipped off moments ago. We'll get you to that one right after this. It's a 2-2 ball game.
Give Marquette credit, commend their staff, their players. They came in here with a business-like approach at shoot-around today. Great concentration, very sharp.
It's interesting how they say history does have a way of repeating itself. It was Marquette that was the last team to win here at Freedom Hall.
Played with a purpose. Execution kept Louisville out of transition, other than those 2 8- and 9-point runs. And they answered those runs with runs of their own, which is so important.
Barrett gives it back to Diener off the inbounds. And he's fouled immediately by Jenkins, stopping the clock with 15.3 to go.
And
Coach Green's team came in at 12-5, guys, and 3-3 overall in conference play. You get the feeling that even though they miss Dwayne Wade, they miss Jackson down low, that this is a team that come tournament time is going to be reckoned with a little bit, going to have to be reckoned with.
Well, they play the ideal tempo for the NCAA tournament when it gets into a half-court style of play. You get into tournament situations, first, second round, teams are not going to allow you to play up and down in the 80s and 90s. You're going to have to execute on the half-court, take care of the ball, play solid half-court defense, and make free throws.
And Tom Crean is a great coach. And one of the things that I think was really important today, when you deal with Louisville and their full court pressure, one of the things that Marquette did in practice, they went 7 defenders trying to break the press. That's a great idea to simulate the ball pressure that Louisville brings.
Great overload principle. Make it tougher in practice when the games are easy.
Shot off the mark with 3.8 to go. It's Marquette ball, and Travis Diener, after he made those last foul shots, pointed up at some of those Louisville fans. And he's a spunky little guy, got a lot of spirit to him.
You better be careful. He's got to come back here next year, too.
He'll be waiting for him out by the bus.
And only fitting that Diener would be the one to dribble out the clock. Marquette, the defending conference champs in Conference USA, storms into thoroughbred country and comes out with the victory. The final score, 77-70, snapping Louisville's 16-game winning streak. For the entire game, there's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Coming up next, it's #1 Duke against #16 Georgia Tech. Right now, let's go to Mike Patrick in Atlanta. Mike?